This video is going to be relevant to all of you. And the reason for that is because you all buy stuff, whether you buy it online or in a shop, but specifically online nowadays, the video is going to be relevant. Now, this is something that I've wanted to make for a little while now, because I've been carrying out like a test over the last couple of years. And this morning something happened where it was like, I'm making a video because I've got concrete proof. And the video is about manifesting and about how your thoughts create your reality. But your thoughts don't always create the reality that you want. And you do have to be careful about what you think about. Now, you all buy stuff online. This is the year 2025. And for 99% of people, your shopping journey is you go on Google or to a website that you are already familiar with, and you find the product that you like, you read the description, then you check out a competitor, you'll check out the shipping information, add it to the basket, and then you'll abandon it. And then later on, you'll go back on the website, you'll check out again, you look at the pictures, make sure it's what you're after, and you'll forget about it again. And then you'll visit the website again, probably the following day. And generally you visit a website more than once, usually 3 or 4 times before you make the purchase. And the higher the value of the purchase, the more times you're likely to sit on it and ponder about it and visit the site. That's how our shopping habits work. Now, I have a very small drop shipping business, and it's autonomous, runs itself like a lot of drop shipping should do, but it is very small. And 99% of the time, customers, they visit the website, they come back, exactly how I've described. They buy something, it gets shipped to them, it turns up and job done, back of the net, everybody's happy. So if you think about the way you buy things on the internet and the amount of thought you put into it, I'll give you 2 examples now. The first one is you find the product, you look at it, you think about it a bit, and then you buy it within a couple of days, and that's it. It's what you're after. The second example is that you view the product, you think about it a lot, you go back again to the website, and then you ring them up because you've got an obscure question about the product. You don't know whether it's going to fit through the door. You want questions about the shipping. I need the item before next Wednesday. If I buy it today, will it arrive in time? What about the color? Is the color of the item going to be accurately reflected in the picture? What about the size of it? I can't measure my head because I don't have a tape measure. I don't know if my hat's going to fit if I buy it. I'm not sure about this thing. It's a doubt. I'm worried about it. I'm concerned. So which one of those journeys, the shopping journey in this case, is more likely to throw up an error or a spanner in the works, or something's not going to go quite how you'd like? It's going to be the second one. If you buy something and you don't put too much thought into it, you don't put too much energy into it, you're not putting too much of your consciousness into it, you'll buy it, within a couple of days, the item will turn up and bingo. No problem, you can get on with your life. If you're overthinking something because you don't know if it's going to fit, you don't know if it's the right color, you don't know if it's the right size, you're creating problems for yourself already because you're overthinking it, you're giving it too much importance, and importance leads to excess potential, and excess potential equals trouble. And it's as simple as that. Now, satirically, I'm talking about shopping now, buying things on the internet, but what I've just explained can be used. You can take that approach between the 2 ways of thinking, the simple, straightforward, the easiest option is the best option approach, or the convoluted, complicated option where you're overthinking things, you're catastrophizing, you're creating up fictitious imagery in your mind where what happens if this happens? What happens if the delivery man turns up? and it won't fit through the letterbox, and I'm not home and my neighbors aren't home. What's going to happen? You're running through all this stuff, which may or may not happen, but whether it may or may not happen or not doesn't matter. As soon as you've thought about it, it's happened, because your thought has created that eventuality, and it shifts you to a timeline where it will happen. And that can be associated with anything that you do in life. The more you try to avoid something, the more chance that you can be almost guaranteed that you'll face it. If you don't want to go to the supermarket because you're worried about running into an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend, and you put it off and you don't go there, and a few weeks and months go by, you think, okay, I'm going to go to the supermarket because I need something urgently. I can guarantee when you go there, you will run into that person that you were trying to avoid, because that's how reality works. You've created this idea in your head, you ran through the imagery in your mind, you put the thought energy out there, you're resonating at that frequency where you're trying to avoid this person, and you will run into that person. Now, I can tell you that with absolute clarity and confirmation, because I've been keeping a record of all the problems that I encounter as a retailer compared to the problems that I don't encounter. Now, when a customer comes to my website and they buy something, 99% of them, I don't hear anything from them. They don't contact me beforehand. They don't ring me. They don't email me. They don't use a live chat. Nothing. They just visit the site a few times and they buy it. Happy days. The times when I am 100% going to run into problems and a customer will get issues is when they contact me first. They're sending me emails asking how quickly something will arrive. What are the dimensions of this? An obscure specification that nobody wants to know about. I ring them back. I send them an email. I appease them and satisfy their curiosity and what it is that they want to know. They buy the item. Great. You're thinking you've made a profit. But no, it doesn't work like that. 100% of the time, there is a problem with that sale. And I can tell you that with an absolute honest held belief, there is always a problem. What's happening is the customer is manifesting problems for themselves because they're putting too much thought into it. They're running through in their imagination problems that can occur. And it could just be because they have anxiety or they have a naturally anxious mind, which is quite common. And you're creating problems for yourself. If you're overthinking anything, you're taking the most convoluted route to a problem, and you're thinking about it too much, then you'll run into problems. And that can be anything. That could be asking somebody out on a date, asking for someone's telephone number, email address. It could be asking your boss a question. It could be doing something at work, putting a presentation together. It could be getting in your car, going on a journey, driving to work. If you're overthinking, what about those traffic? What about the construction work? What about this? What about that? Then you're going to run into problems because you're creating it in your mind, and then that then forms part of your reality. And I've had it twice this week. Last week, a customer emailed me. They're asking frantically how quickly, if I buy something, will it get delivered? So I told them the exact information that they needed to know, which was already on the website. And then what's happened? The items turned up this morning. I've had 2 voice messages from them and an email saying that they're not happy with the quality of the item. And I've seen the pictures and I know what the problem is, and it's laughable. They've created the problem for themselves by overthinking it. It had to be collected and you issue the refund. And these things are expensive. Collecting items and issuing refunds cost businesses money. And from a consumer perspective, if you're buying things and waiting around for deliveries to turn up and item turns up and it's not what you wanted, or there's a problem with it, you have to repackage it, you have to wrap it up, you have to wait in or go somewhere to drop the parcel off and print a label off. This all takes time, it's mental energy, and it's a waste of time ultimately. And a lot of these problems can be avoided simply by not giving any situation too much importance. Because the simplest answer or the simplest approach is almost always the correct approach, because things work themselves out themselves. The more importance you assign to them, the more chances are that you'll run into trouble. And if you trust the process and go with the flow, then the situation will resolve itself. Whatever the problem is, whatever the situation is, it will resolve itself by standing back and becoming the observer and just letting the process run its course. Now, I've explained this from the shopping perspective because that's the experience that I have. Think about this for yourself in any facet or experience or scenario in your life. If you overthink things, if you overplan, you plan too much, you ask too many questions, you're thinking about it when you go to bed, you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about it. It's the first thing you think about in the morning. You're running through fictitious imaginary scenarios, but then you're running into trouble and the universe is going to balance you out, because you can use your imagination to construct positive scenes, positive scenarios where you are the victor and everything works out perfectly. But you can also create negative scenes where you end up becoming the victim and you end up losing out, and you choose which path you want to take. And it just starts with your thinking, because your thinking and your thoughts are so important. And you have to be very careful about what you think about, because thinking the wrong things can shift you to a lifeline where that thing is in your life in abundance. If you try to avoid something, you dislike something, you put a lot of energy and thought into it, you will swap to a life where it is in abundance and it's around every corner. So just have a think about that and be mindful and be aware. That's the thing. It's about awareness, not about common sense or intellect. It's just about being aware. If you have a high level of awareness about how the system works, about how your mind and thinking can generate scripts into your lifeline and into your reality, and you can then take steps to ensure that your experience is as fortuitous and as positive as possible. And it is as simple as that. So this is just a quick video that I wanted to make for a little while, just because it's about these customers creating problems for themselves. And it's like, I almost want to throw my laptop out the window. And I tell my partner, whenever this happens, I explain the story to them. And she always says, you should just get to a position where if the customer starts asking you too many questions, don't even ship them something, because there's going to be a problem. And I think she's probably right, to be honest with you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you folks on the next video. See ya.